Hey everyone, this is Combat Lobster, and today we're playing Momodora Reverie Under the Moonlight. This is the fourth game in the Momodora series, and it's a prequel, so you don't actually have to play the other three games in order to understand anything about this one in particular. However, you will find that if you go back and play the other three games, that there are some references to some stuff that happens in this game. But anyways, why don't we go ahead and get started. So right off the bat, we have 5 save slots, and most of them are taken up by something else, so I'll go ahead and start a new game in this empty slot way down here. We are using a controller to play this game. And there are 3 difficulty modes right off the bat. You have easy, normal, and hard. You can also unlock a 4th difficulty by beating hard mode. So for most of this playthrough, we're going to be using hard mode, and for the intro, where we do all the tutorial stuff, and for boss demonstrations, we'll be referring back to normal mode for those bits. But we'll be coming back to hard mode to show off a sort of an optimal strategy for bosses, give or take. But anyways, let's go ahead and start a new game. And now we have gameplay. Now we can move around, and we can hit up on the D-pad to talk to this guy, but we've pretty much exhausted anything else he could say, so he's just going to repeat himself. Also, we're going to head off to the left for a boat. We're basically just filling out the map, but what you might notice is that this game is very pretty. And that's because one of the big focuses for this game during development was art and gameplay. So one of the biggest changes from other Momodora games is that the character sprites themselves are much larger, so that it would allow for more expressive animations, like, expressing your boredom by yawning, or, just tapping your shoes, making sure they're on right. But anyways. That guy left. Oh wells. Anyways, it's now time for a tutorial. This tutorial bit is mostly for people who have never played a platforming game before. So if you know how to do that, you're pretty much golden for the next couple of screens. And down here is a treasure chest that we can open up by attacking it, and out pops some pink stars. That's money stars. We'll be using those to buy things at certain shopkeeps. And we got our first active item, which takes up one of our 3 active slots. The Bellflower is basically our healing item for this game, and all you have to do is just hit Y, and you will consume 1, and it will fill back up some health that you lost. We didn't get any back because we didn't lose any yet. And here's our introduction to combat. We can hit the X button to whack this beat enemy with our leaf, and our leaf has a 3-hit combo, going from the weakest strike to the strongest strike, but the strongest strike also takes the longest to animate. You can also jump in attack, which is a little stronger than your base attack by itself, the very first hit. So not only do we have a melee attack, we also have a range attack too. Our bow is used to pick off enemies from afar. You can also hold in the range attack button to charge the attack, and once it's fully charged, you can let go, and it will send out a volley of arrows. Not only do our range attacks have a combat utility, we can also use them to solve puzzles, like hitting this crystal ball from afar. And here's the game's version of save points. So all you have to do is just hit the bell and your progress will be saved. Not to mention any health or items you lost will be replenished as well. And if you're not into hitting the bell, you can also walk up to the bell and hit up to pray, and you can select save from the menu, and it's basically the same as hitting the bell. So if you're not into ringing bells, you can do that too. And now it's time to roll. You can roll behind enemies to get the drop on them and attack them from behind, or you can use it to simply dodge attacks. Either one's fine, but you're invincible during that roll. So here's the first enemy that actually attacks back. The imp throws poison bombs at you, and if you stand in the smoke, you will also get poisoned, and you pretty much know what will happen. You'll lose health over time. However, you can parry these poison bombs by swatting at them with your leaf, or you can shoot them down with your arrows. And that about does it for the tutorial section, so why don't we switch back to hard mode and see how things are different in that mode. So right off the bat, you might notice that there are now enemies in the platforming section, because by now they figured you should probably know how to play a platforming game, especially on hard. So there will be enemies in this screen. So not only do you have less health in hard mode, you also have to deal with more enemies in certain screens. We can just roll through these enemies and ignore them because there's nothing different about them. There's also an achievement for beating the game without actually killing any common enemy, and using your roll is one of the big essential things if you want to achieve that. What I'm saying is, get used to using the roll. So you're probably seeing this tunnel and thinking, there's gotta be a way we can get through there, and there's probably a secret on the other side. And you would be right, but right now we don't have the required item in order to get through there, so for now we'll just have to remember that that's there and come back at a later time. Speaking of secrets, this wall here is fake, and you can tell by hitting it, because it will disappear once you attack it. And our reward for our exploratory instincts is a vital fragment, which increases our maximum health, and we'll be getting all of them throughout this game. In fact, we'll be getting 2 of them in this very video. Whoa, now that's a big enemy. And a big enemy is probably guarding something special, so why don't we roll past him and find out what he's guarding. And I was right, he gave us our first passive item, which increases the chance for enemies to drop double the amount of money stars. So why don't we try testing it on this guy. So he is really slow, so taking him out at range is a pretty good idea. You can also roll through him and give a melee attack a try, but you can only get in about 1 to 2 strikes per roll, so don't depend on the melee too much and just focus on using range. And that's technically double the money, because he usually drops 8 or 9 money stars. Oh, I almost fell into that again. I'm not falling for that twice. It should be mentioned that those red spikes are instant death. If you fall into them, you're gonna die no matter how much health you have. So, watch out. So right below this save point is a collectible, and it's really tough to see, but if you look hard enough, there's a white little dot right there. And what that is an ivory bug. And there are 20 of them in this entire game, and we'll be going after each and every one of them. So there's our first one. Don't forget to save after collecting a collectible, because if you don't, then you'll have to collect it again. Whatever. There's another secret behind this wall. And it's another vitality fragment. So you might be noticing that I'm not actually killing most of the enemies in a lot of rooms, and that's because I feel it's more efficient to just avoid them rather than going out of your way and killing each and every one of them. Oh, and what do you know, there's an imp that actually doesn't want to kill us. However, she does not want anything to do with us anyways, so we'll just have to leave her be. But there's a reason we'll need to come back here at a later time. And the second ivory bug is right here next to this poison vent. So be careful and don't get caught up in that poison. Here's a pathway that leads back to that room where we got our second vitality fragment, but we don't have the item to get through that small space, so we'll have to ignore for it now. Also, there's a secret chest hidden away back here. It's got more money stars. One thing that the Beat Club guys, I need to come up with a better name than that, do, if you let them walk up to you for a while, they'll actually dash towards you and try to smack you one. So one thing to note about the save bells is that usually when you see one placed, there might be a boss up ahead, so be careful. Looks like I was right. This boss here has a certain weak spot that we can only attack, because attacking your body by itself isn't going to do anything. It's either going to have to be her head or the pearl that's on the back of her body. On her butt. Yeah, let's go with that, on her butt. So Edna has about 4 attacks total. She has a short-range swipe, where she'll swipe at you if you're really close to her. And then she has 3 charge moves, and what I consider as a charge move is when you look around her body area, you see that white circle stuff that's going on there? that's when she's charging up to do a big attack. And she has 3 of those. The first one is she'll take 2 steps forward and she will swing her entire bottom half towards you. And if that hits you, that does a lot of damage, so watch out. The second one is where she charges up and she'll spit out a poison bomb. And the last charge attack won't show up for a little while because I'm trying to coax her into doing it. But what she usually does is that she'll bend down and spew poison gas at you. However, she's mostly prone to doing that tail whip attack, so you're hardly going to ever see the other 2 charge attacks that I mentioned earlier. And that's the fight. So we did beat the boss, but there's something special we get for not taking any damage during the boss fight, so why don't we do it in hard mode and show that off. So what you actually want to do during this fight is you want to put some distance between you and her, so much so that she'll have no other choice but to use her tail attack, and when she does that, you charge up your bow attack, and you let her rip on her tail, and it does way more damage than doing it on her body. So that's the main idea here. And that is the fight, without taking any damage. And for doing so, we get a special item. And we got Edna's Pearl, which is a passive item, and what that does is that it adds poison to our arrows. Also be careful, don't shoot arrows right next to you because you can also poison yourself. Huh, what an interesting character. Let's see what he's got to say. Sometimes you have to talk to NPCs more than once in order to get everything they need to say out. Alright. Well, that about does it for this video. Tune in next time as we go into Kars City.